ladies and gentlemen, the thirst expressed by President Zuma of knowing where South Africans live, work and play has been quenched by our indefatigable Stats SA through its dedicated staff and our duty-bound Stats Council. This quenching has not only been satisfied by our President Zuma, but has also been extended to South Africans from all walks of life. After having achieved our political freedom, South Africans are in unison about the need for the next step, that is economic emancipation. In order to have a heightened understanding of our targets and our achievements, we shall rely on the quality of statistics that comes out of our Statistics Authority. Our commitment to evidence-based decision-making is confirmed by our revised statistical legislation, as it has been indicated both by the SG and the chairperson. Following on this, in 2001, Cabinet adopted a framework for the implementation of the National Statistics System, the NSS. Sadly, despite legislation and framework, the implementation of this NSS has been painfully slow. We need to move faster. And today, we have called on this summit to seek advice on how we can implement our scientific evidential base for better and faster results. Maybe we need an Operation Pakisa. We will be ready to proceed with adequate speed as soon as the outcome of this symposium has been made available to us. Realizing the professionalism of the Stats Authority, our government allocated a new role of compiling crime statistics and taking responsibility for their compilation and release. Very soon, this must be transferred from the police to Statistics SA, so that it must be an independent, away from the operators in the police service. This is our growing confidence on the relevance of scientific statistics that can be achieved through independent statistics compilation. We are also keenly awaiting developments on the small area statistics which will assist our municipalities to plan even better. Best practice and operational efficiency and effectiveness commands that the SG should take responsibility for compilation and release of all three sides of our national accounts, namely production, income, and expenditure. Work is progressing very well with the South African Reserve Bank for this eventuality. These examples that I've just highlighted illustrate the dire need for coordination and demand for tighter enforcement of practice through relevant legislation. Delegates, another environment challenge emanates from production of data by a multiplicity of institutions. The quality of the products by these information peddlers is unknown, and accountability as well as ethics and compliance are generally not observed, yet they flagrantly display their wares in the public space with no regard for the consequences and impact of their own data and opinions in the public space. This is particularly so in the area of labor market statistics. This poses a serious danger to society, and the community of practice has to express itself on this particular issue. I do understand that later today there will be a release of a labor force survey. As our population figures rise and the democratic expression finds root, the feeling and the view of individuals or a group of individuals has to be taken into account. While in the past, a powerful individual's view was easily translated into the view of the many, the current world would scorn at this distortion of statistics. There is a greater need now, more than ever before, for government and civil society to be alive to the evidence of the statistical world as a basis for the formulation of their actions and their projects. I have listened with interest to some of the questions that journalists pose, particularly to Mr. Lehohla, as to what should government do about the statistics that the authority has produced. In his deft avoidance of responding to this question, there is an attendant need for government to act with speed in using outputs from our statistical authority to effect the necessary policy interventions in order to better the lives of our people. We also seek our voice to be heard in global organizations insofar as it relates to how they relate to statistics produced on the African continent. We therefore welcome the adoption of the United Nations Fundamental Principles for Official Statistics. What the community of practice should express themselves on is how these principles get enforced in their national states. Ladies and gentlemen, we meet on the back of a number of international involvement in the area of statistics. Working with our continental experts, we developed the African Census Analysis Project in 1998, and the After Robben Island, the Demography of South Africa, was a product of this engagement. In 2003, we were honored as South Africa to host the International Summit on Census Costs. We were also further honored to host the African Symposium for Statistical Development in 2006. In 2009, our 57th session of the International Statistics Institute led to the birth of the Isibalo program, which will hold a back-to-back seminar in the next 3 days. Our international engagements is not only a celebration of the past achievements, but also a vision for the future. I'm impressed with the far-sightedness which has been expressed in the strategies for the harmonization of Stats Vision 2063 from the African Union. Long-term planning, therefore, as we have found in our own National Development Plan, is not fashionable, but an absolute necessity. As we note with greater urgency the need to implement the integration agenda of the African Union and our Vision 2063, here in South Africa, Statistics SA led and concluded with the African Union, the African Development Bank, and the Economic Commission for Africa, the strategies for the harmonization of statistics in Africa, SHA-SA. This is a flagship document by statisticians interpreting the measurement tenets of the integration agenda and identified 14 priority areas. It is a strategy document that declares an African common position on matters of official statistics as well as training. This document has become a mouthpiece and central coordination instrument for partners on this journey. SHA-SA is a coin name that stands for deep, precious water. It was therefore befitting to coin this acronym on that hot December day in Pretoria, as the SG Paddy Lehohla and other African colleagues sought to quench the African policymakers' thirst for evidence. SHA-SA, therefore, marks a major step in our journey, and we shall hear from Cape Verde and Kenya as they extend Priority 14 of SHASA on measurements of governance, peace and security, which is an outgrowth of the African Union's African Peer Review Mechanism, the APRM. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like also to take this opportunity to thank our African brothers and sisters for affording us the opportunity to host these engagements, and we do hope that we do not disappoint in terms of outcomes of those engagements. As an African continent, we are growing bolder about our ability to grow our own statistical data, and we are proud that of the 54 African states, 48 of them, including those that have emerged from conflicts, have and are now counting to conduct their population and housing censuses. We are also pleased that Angola, which has not undertaken a population in 4 decades, has done so in the past 2 months in May. Madagascar, coming out of a political stalemate, will be running its own census in 2016. The Democratic Republic of the Congo is in line for its own census in 2015. There is therefore no doubt that all African governments have acknowledged the crucial role that is played by statistics in all governments. This National Symposium on the strengthening of the South African National Statistical System should serve, therefore, as the beginning of a consultative process towards revamping our legislation and consolidate best practice which my predecessors began. You as national, continental, and international stakeholders in the production and in the use of statistics in both the private and public sectors, including research institutions, should contribute ideas and share best practice regarding the design and the building of this, our national statistical system. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, let me reassure you of the importance of official statistics and the importance of their independence. We need independently produced quality statistics that are policy relevant for quality decision making in order to improve the quality of our constitutional democracy, therefore improving the lives of citizens of our countries. The much celebrated African hero, Amilcar Cabral, asserted on a prophetic post-2015 agenda way back in 1965 when he said, and I quote, "Always bear in mind that the people are not fighting for ideas, for the things in their heads. They are fighting to win material benefits, to live better and in peace, to see their lives go forward, to guarantee the future of their children." Close quotes. As a government, we keenly await your further refined insights into how statistics can become the basic reference point from which we premise all our policy interventions to better the lives of all of our people. It is now my pleasure to declare this symposium on the National Statistical System for South Africa officially open, and I thank you.